Welcome back. Time now for the business day. For the first time in decades, the Caribbean Development Bank is positioning itself to finance the region's healthcare sector, a move that could become critical as several Caribbean countries, including Jamaica, reconsider their reliance on the Cuban medical program.
I need to be measured when I say this. This is not to say that we're going to rush out there and be, building a lot of hospitals, etc. Because right now we don't have that expertise, the medical expertise within the bank to supervise these types of projects.
However, President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Daniel Best, says if countries raise health concerns in their engagement strategy, it could provide financing or support through partnerships.
Let's take Barbados, for instance. And this is one of the reasons why we stress that health needed to be included in our strategic plan for the next 10 years. Barbados has consistently been pretty high in global NCD tables, pretty high. So for Barbados and some of our other Caribbean countries, health is actually a developmental issue. And as the region's sole indigenous multilateral bank, we can't turn away from it.
As a result, the CDB says development financing could play a greater role in helping Caribbean economies build more resilient and sustainable healthcare systems.
So to your question, with Cuban medical practitioners perhaps exiting the region, this will or could certainly become, again, like Mr. Cotton mentioned, we are monitoring all of these situations, but it could become a developmental issue. And as the region's development bank, we are here to support our countries. And it would be a matter of how they come forward to us and how we engage with them.
He was speaking at the 2026 Caribbean Development Bank annual news conference held recently. This is a big shift in emphasis for the institution, which normally focuses its lending programs on infrastructure development, climate resilience, and economic development. Finance Minister Favour Williams is cautioning that the war in the Middle East between Iran, the U.S. and Israel will have an impact on the Jamaican economy, still reeling from the effects of Hurricane Melissa. But the minister says the country stands ready to respond to the rising oil prices.
To the extent that oil prices rise, it means everything for us is more expensive. Transportation, cost of production of goods, electricity, just about everything will be impacted. So it's important for us to understand what's happening in the other parts of the world. The good news is we are positioned well in terms of our foreign exchange if we have to buy oil at a higher price.
The minister explained that the net international reserves NIR is strong at $6.8 billion. Describing it as the country's very version of oil and gold, she says the NIR is there to cushion Jamaica from external shocks.
We don't generate a drop of oil here in Jamaica. We have to buy it, and that means we have to have ready US dollars in order to do that. And so I hear the arguments about it. But I think there needs to be further engagement of persons to help them understand why it's there, why it's useful, and why we should keep making it strong. If we go through a disaster, we'd have to spend some of it if we have to buy a whole bunch of stuff from abroad. So it has to be there, ready, and waiting.
Now, according to the international benchmark, for a country to have sufficient NIR, it must be able to cover the cost to import goods and services from overseas for 12 weeks. At $6.8 billion, the NIR is 3 times the international benchmark. When asked whether the country could use the NIR to fund projects,
think about it as you think about a savings account. Think about it as a current account, a checking account, because there are inflows and outflows out of the NIR. When you go online and shop, you have to pay for it in US dollars. Where do you think those US dollars come from, right? When remittance comes to the country, it gets recorded in our net international reserves. When tourists spend US dollars, wherever they spend it in Jamaica, if they go to a cambio and change that US dollars, it has to be remitted to the Bank of Jamaica. So it's a flow.
All fuel prices will be increased effective tomorrow. Each liter of 87 and 90 gasoline will be increased by $4.50. Automotive diesel and ultra-low sulfur diesel will also see $4.50 being added to their price. Kerosene will see its price increase by $4.50. The cost of propane and butane will go up by $3.06. Each petrol station will make these adjustments to their prices, which include a markup on the ex-refinery rate offered by Petrojam. The JSE index declined by 4,165 points, while the junior market index advanced by 2 points. The winners include Cygnus Real Estate Finance US dollar shares, Main Event Entertainment Group, Tropical Battery Company, Cygnus Credit Investments US dollar shares, and Future Energy Source Company. The losers include A.S. Bryden & Sons Holdings, Sagicor Real Estate X Fund, Cygnus Credit Investments 8%, Mayweather Group, and Proven Group US dollar shares. 23 stocks traded firm. And foreign exchange trading ended with banks and cambios selling the US dollar for an average $157.87. The Canadian dollar is being sold for $116.55. The pound is going for $214.30, while the euro is selling for an average $183.85. And that's the Business Day news from overseas after the break.